So this video is probably going to be called shadowboxing. Um, and the primary person I'm addressing in this video um, is Jeremy. Because there's some cognitive dissonance that, like, I'm gonna throw this out there. I feel like this video is gonna be a waste of my fucking time, but, like, I guess I'm just gonna explain some things. But first I have to get some priorities out of the way. The friend you keep reaching out to, which is the only one that you haven't flipped, is my closest friend. I have known her since shortly after high school. Okay? I confide in her more than any other friend I've ever had. She knows things about me that really, she knows more than Gabby, and I confided in Gabby a lot. Mostly just because of the difference in duration of time, right? She also has a degree in sociology, and she is incredibly knowledgeable about psychology and interpersonal dynamics. You are not going to be able to psychologically manipulate her. Number one, she's been there for most of this, most of the things I talk about. And number two, like, she's very, very familiar with your pathology. As a matter of fact, for years, Stella was really the only person I ever talked about you with, or to, right? You are not, in this story arc in my adult life, a main character until recently. As a narcissist, you have a need to control the narrative. People like me would just rather not talk about you. Most of my interaction with you is incredibly traumatic, okay? So I don't like people know about the other brother I have because he's like accomplished a lot of things, and sometimes I talk about those cool things that he's done, but like, I gain nothing by letting people know how horrible you were to me, because then they feel bad and then it makes me feel awkward, okay? You have this need to control the narrative. It is innate to your personality. You have gone around telling people I'm delusional, and yet you express to this friend of mine that you're extremely concerned about these videos. You tell them that you don't even watch them, which is a lie because Google Analytics tells me you do. And you specifically mentioned something about that I said that you threatened them, and that is like 6 minutes and briefly mentioned in one of the videos. So clearly you're watching the videos, okay? And if they bother you, I'm going to tell you how we can work this out. First off, you need to stop bothering my friend. As I said, you're not going to manipulate her. She knows what you are. She's been there for it. And as a matter of fact, she was the one who taught me about narcissism, and because she wanted me to understand my family. Okay? There is a night when I'm at the cable company, and like, she's trying to break it to me gently because she's for years been telling me, Aaron, you really shouldn't talk to your family. And I'm like, who the hell are you to say that, right? And she tells me to go on a subreddit called Raised by Narcissists just because I might find it interesting, and then leaves it at that. And that was the night I looked up that subreddit and read stories that were just like mine, and had a little bit of a breakdown. I cried. I was afraid that I might be one. Like, it was a huge fucking thing. It was incredibly traumatic. But she's the one who knew. I didn't tell her you're a narcissist, Jeremy. She told me you're a narcissist. She told me. She knows what you are. She knows about all of this. And she was there because anytime you did shit from the time I was like 21 and it bothered me, I would talk to her about it because she was my closest friend. And no other friends knew about most of the stuff you did. So you easily flip them because it's hard to imagine someone being as monstrous as you've been. She would prefer you not talk to her. Um, she's interacting with you, walking on eggshells because she knows what you do when you get angry. On top of that, and maybe you don't remember this, you bullied her brother-in-law all throughout high school. You guys were classmates. I've heard the story you tell about where you make fun of his audition because he's saying in a deep voice and stuff. And like, I remember he was my roommate at one point, and I would talk about you and finally be like, Aaron, I don't like your brother. I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, you guys are best friends. He's like, no, we're not. And so, like, I learned this, that, like, I always thought that particular brother of her husband's was, like, your best friend. Because it's, like, how you talk about them. They don't view you that way. And so you have a distorted view of a lot of things. You say that I'm delusional, and you're concerned about videos that have less than 100 views. There are 10 billion people on this planet. And I'm going to compare your reactions to all this to Gabby's reaction because they're very different pathologies. She's got more of psychopathy and you're more narcissist. Gabby, the last message she sent to me from an anonymous menacing account like you do was the one where she tried to get me to dox myself to a raid board, and I figured out it was her the whole time. And as soon as I was able to identify that she was malicious, the game isn't fun for her anymore. She moved on. She absolutely, because she doesn't have the self-image issues that you have. She has plenty good self-esteem. But narcissists actually have self-esteem issues. And so, like, she just moved on. Oh, well, I can't fuck with Aaron anymore. He figured it out. Let me go find my next victim. She doesn't need to control the narrative. She doesn't care. She's incredibly beautiful. She'll find a billion desperate guys who will believe anything she says because she's so beautiful. And what do they call them, like simps or whatever? Yeah, please. It's not fun for her anymore. She's lost the gratification, so she's moved on. You, on the other hand, like, persist. You mentioned to my friend you're trying to get me into a hospital still, like a psych hospital. I'm going to explain a couple of things. I've been in 3 of them because you've been fucking with me. And none of them say I'm delusional. The problem is, like, you're not going to manipulate a doctor. The people you need to avoid, Jeremy, are psychology and sociology professionals because they will identify you. And that is your greatest fear, is being identified, because then the game's up for you. And you can't control the narrative. This friend of mine is one of those people. She is a sociology professional. And it's just not going to work. She's not going to believe you because she has experience. She knows who she was in college with you. Like, look. If you are concerned about these videos, I'm going to disclose what their purpose is. You guys have fucked with me so much that I've had like 18 different versions of trying to figure out what's going on. This is to organize my thoughts and show a therapist later. 100%. And also to have like a public record of my words, because you used like my words with Gabby to like try and get a criminal investigation into me. Like cherry picked them and manipulated them. So I want everything I say about this to be on record so that you can't do that. If you would prefer, I can set the future videos to unlisted. And then the general public won't see them, only people I send the link to. But you're going to have to do something too. You're going to have to give up your desire to control the narrative. What does that mean? Stop reaching out to this friend of mine, who is the only friend I have left that you know about at this point. Stop trying to get me committed, because it's not going to work. And when you fail, then I'm rescinding this offer. If you are truly concerned about less than 100 random people who you've told I'm delusional anyway, understanding the truth because they see these videos, you can't have it both ways. If I'm delusional, these should be the rantings of a crazy person and have no effect on you. When somebody goes and says, like, they're controlling the weather with HAARP, like, do you get upset about Alex Jones? Like, no. If I'm a crazy person, you shouldn't care. You know I'm not a crazy person. But even still, like, the chances of you running into someone who sees one of these videos, this is a statistical fallacy that is obscured by your ego, and you are shadowboxing. Your desire to control the narrative is your own greatest enemy, and you've created criminal liability for yourself as a result. Do you think the reason you haven't been arrested long before now is because you got away with it? No, it's because I don't need that. I don't need you to be arrested. I don't need you to go get criminal charges. I don't need you to suffer. I need you to stop. You just gotta fucking stop. Stop fucking with me. Stop trying to destroy my life. I know why you're angry, and now I'm gonna speak about it publicly because it gives context. You were in a polyamorous relationship, and one of those people, named Todd Matuga, disclosed to your wife that he was attracted to minors. And your wife gossiped it to you. And you made the decision to keep him as a roommate because you felt ideologically that it was wrong to persecute thought crime. And that individual ended up hurting my nieces. And you know the way in which he did it. And what blows my mind, I want to be clear, the only reason like why I've given you such a pass and not really just gotten them to throw the book at you and push criminal charges is because my nieces depend on you. If it was just you, I would have ended this in a very easy way. We've gone right to the police instantly when this started. And well, really, the biggest thing that really fucking ticks me off about this is that you accused me to law enforcement of hurting my nieces so you could get them to go through my stuff. You told me as much in a text message. And you didn't stop to think because you're so fucking, like, self-centered. And again, it's not your fault. You're a narcissist. But, like, do you realize that they were going after this Todd person for such a long time? They were just waiting on a disclosure from the children. They already said that he sneaks in their room and gives them lollipops. And there was so much evidence. And then in your selfishness to get revenge, you list me as a suspect and in the process let their actual abuser off the hook. And this video is not coming down because someday your children are going to see this video. They already don't know what happened, Uncle Aaron. You've given them some story, I'm sure, about, you know, like why they came home from school and I wasn't there anymore. Here's the deal. If you stop fucking around, if you leave me be, I'm not saying I'm letting you off the hook for anything you've done already, but if you stop future harassment to me and that friend of mine and any future friends or friends that I have that you aren't aware of that you become aware of, I will commit to keeping these videos on unlisted if it really bothers you that much, which, like, is so, like, ridiculous to me. Again, less than 100 views per video. And you're beside yourself. We counted how many times you mention it in the messages. Like, and you just stop. Leave me alone, and believe me, I want nothing to do with you. I tell people when they ask about my family, I don't talk to my family. I don't like say, yeah, my brother was an asshole my whole childhood and here's the reasons why. I don't have the need to do that because I'm not a narcissist. And as a narcissist, you don't understand. You just think everybody else is like you. Well, we're not. We actually don't need to do that. I live my separate. It's a very big world, and we don't ever have to run into each other or even be aware of each other. But you gotta stop. You gotta stop trying to destroy my life. Destroying my life will not fix your problems. It will not remove the guilt that you feel. It will not do anything for you. And if you're worried about a bunch of videos, I'll help you out. I'll set any video talking about you personally, I will set to unlisted. The ones that are already here are staying up. But if I talk about you in the future, I'll make sure I set it to unlisted. why did you just stop fucking with me? Take a clue from Gabby. Take a hint. She doesn't care. Be more like a psychopath and less like a narcissist because you can't get off that spectrum. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you can it's a dark triad. Maybe you can lean towards that. Harness your psychopathy because you have it. You kill animals in front of me to upset me. Harness your psychopathy and stop giving a shit about fucking up my life for revenge. For something, by the way, the issue is that you wanted me to promote your narrative that you had no awareness of Todd before it happened, and I refused. So are you angry at me, or are you unable to deal with your own guilt? You tell me I failed the children of the person I testified against, who was a serial child. You failed your children. You failed them. But every day we wake up and we get to make new decisions. From this moment forward, you can be a good dad to them. But not if you're spending all your time obsessed with revenge about me. Focus on what matters. Focus on your children. Focus on your life. And allow me a reprieve to build mine. And you just never have to fucking deal with me again. If you truly hate me that much, then let me go. You already have an order that says you have to. Which was filed against me, which is funny. Just fucking get on, move on, and allow me to move on in the process. And if you're really, really so fucking concerned about less than 100 views on videos implicating you in a crime, cool, I got you. I can do that for you. But stop all this other stuff. I am as a gesture of good faith. And by the way, I offered to stop. You have a message from me where I said, I'm not concerned about the criminal stuff. Just, stop this. And I explained because you try. By the way, the only thing you did manage to convince my friend of was that you really were confused about the truth and that you really believed the things you were saying. You did fool her into that. She came to me about that, and I was like, in my absolute stupidity, not knowing better, I was like, oh, well, maybe he was manipulated by Gabby. Maybe he really believes I'm delusional. Maybe, he just has misinformation and is acting in good faith. And you proved that wasn't the case very quickly yesterday when you flipped out on my friend. Because your social battery, when it runs out, you don't get exhausted, you get vicious and violent. So yeah, just if you truly want to live and let live, put your money where your mouth is, and I should have no future problems from you. And if I have no future problems from you, I promise there will be no future videos about you that are public. I guarantee it. But just stop, okay? I'm not angry at you, and I don't hate you because you can't help this. See the previous video where I talk about how to deal with people with problematic pathologies. If you could change and were choosing not to, I would fucking hold you responsible. But you can't help it. And so my strategy is to do what I need to do to stay away from you and protect myself for the rest of my life. And you can go victimize other people with your narcissism. I've had my fill. I dealt with it for so long. I'm 39 years old. Allow me to live my life in peace. Find someone else to use the scapegoat and to blame things on. I am not the only person you can victimize like that. You really shouldn't victimize anyone, but clearly you have to. But you need to find someone else. I've suffered enough. And that's what I have to say. So, yeah. I don't hate you. Because you can't help it. But I will protect myself from you, okay? I'm not going to discuss whether that apply, what I'm going to do about the criminal charges, but let's see how this goes. Let's see if you can make a good decision and give up the one thing that you desire the most, which is to control the narrative. If you can, for your own well-being, walk away, I'll do what I can to help you. Because I don't hate you. I love you. You're my brother. But I can't allow you to hurt me. Stop hurting me and I will do everything I can for you. There were times, I don't know if those times were fake when we watched those shows together. I had a blast watching I Think You Should Leave and Our Flag Means Death. That's my favorite show, and you introduced it to me, right? And we were reminiscing about like Little Nemo and all these other things and you know, that's the part that sucks, is like there's so many like very unique references to our childhood. Like I was trying to explain this to that friend of mine about the game Draken, and like it doesn't hit the same because I don't have someone who was there when we played it. But like, yeah, that's the part that hurts me, is that I don't have brothers and siblings who won't harm me, who I can share those childhood memories with. That's how I regard you, as unfortunate. But to everyone else, I either tell them I'm an orphan and an only child, the new people I mean, have moved on to that, or I just don't talk about you, man. Because I don't want to like have to relive it. I have CPTSD. I have flashbacks when I talk about these things, and in some ways I relive them. And I don't want to be miserable. I want the rest of my life to be better than my childhood I spent with you. And for many years, for almost a decade, I didn't talk to you and everything was fine. And those were the most productive decade. Think about all the music I made, and I ended up going from being on like disability to working on Cape Canaveral as an analyst. When you're not fucking with me and my family isn't fucking with me, I do incredible things. You are my greatest anchor. Cut the rope, let me go, and forge your own destiny, dude. Stop making your life about getting revenge. That's all I can say.